We'll have to
All
bring him
right,
back
so
on.
we're live.
So fantastic.
Good.
No, it's been a while since we spoke, Ralph. Right? Welcome to the Sam and Dan podcast, all about social distance. Well, not distance. Right now, guys, we are actually social distancing because Ralph is currently on the road in another town, a big town called Manhattan right now. But he usually does hang out in Far Rockaway, New York, which is right next to Cedarhurst.
Sure. Doing a little project out here. Just getting ready. You know, you got to get ready before this pandemic. If everything really opens up, you want to make sure you get some programming, some activity. I got a little little program I'm going to be throwing up here in the Upper West Side, so I'm just getting ready for that.
Oh, yeah?
I'm waiting on the
some time out to talk to the dynamic duo here.
I'm just waiting for my invite to the jazz.
Okay, there you go.
So Ralph, I'm gonna just jump in there for a few seconds because I know Sam for a good 2 months, maybe a month, but obviously you know him for a lot longer, and very interested to get to know you. Tell me a little bit more about yourself.
Well, look, as long as Sean out of it, one of the things I do mediations and negotiations, right? So just think about any time you find something bad, somebody needs to clean that up. I'm one of those guys who comes in just to help to clean things up. It's all about the conversation. So whether it's like police disputes, Civilian Complaint Review Board, I mediate with those, discrimination cases, Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, where I am a federal mediator. You have regular business disputes, custody visitation, the kids. So that's what I do. Full time, trying to make things happen. And also, let's put it this way, as far as disputes, trying to sway people to do things that normally they don't want to, that's what politics is about too, right? Trying to get people to do things.
The gift of gab you have.
Come over here. I got this cattle prod if you don't listen to me.
Yeah. So you can say that's the gift of gab. And let's see what works. I'll say anything, whatever I need to do, see what sticks. If it works, hey, it works. If it doesn't, hey, you're still in control, right? So it's really interesting because,
you do a lot of police mediating right now between the public and the police department, police and stuff
well, they had paused because of the pandemic, but they're about to restart again. And so I already reached out to them, so I'm looking forward to getting back to dealing with those kind of cases. I think a big problem, I don't think people realize you're going after the police department, but there's certain things that's not being said. A lot of this ill will, bad will, sometimes that comes from the political front, not just the department. When you're protesting, you better be doing it at one police plaza and not the mayor's office. For example, stop and frisk. The police department didn't really want to do stop and frisk. That was Bloomberg who said, listen, you got to do that, right? But the police department, like the military, like paramilitary, they're not going to say, well, the mayor told us to do one thing and we don't want to do it. They just do their job, right? So I think people, you don't know, right? So that's what I do for a living, is try to get those communication conversations going so people know what's going on behind the scenes, right, as much as possible.
Very political. Like, you help a lot of politicians out, a lot of really cool politicians, like Lisa George, who was running.
Yeah, Lisa George was running for assembly. She came in third, working with State Senator Jane Sanders. And there's other people who's going to be running, helping with campaigns here and that. Because let's put it this way. When it comes, it's all about communication, education, right? Persuasion, right? That's what you're trying to do. So if I'm trying to persuade you to vote a particular way, that's campaigning. If I'm trying to persuade you, educate you to buy something, that's marketing, right? So it's the different levels of abstract. If there's some disputes between two people, that's what I do mostly, that's mediating. So depending on the science of persuasion allows you to do different things. So some people think, hey, you're doing this job, that job, this job. Actually, it's just persuasion. I'm trying to persuade you to do something normally that you would not do, right? Do you need that extra pair of shoes? Do you need that extra backpack? Of course you do, because you look so much better in it, right? And that's how it works. It's all about persuasion.
Marketing 101, yeah.
That's marketing 101. But when it comes
what kind of marketing tips could you tell people when it comes to mediating? Like, what kind of marketing, some of our listeners out here that can help them when it comes to, like, or maybe someone wants to run for office and something like that. What could you help them? What kind of tips could you give them before we move on to like a whole nother topic?
Well, okay, so if you're trying to persuade somebody to, let's say, buy something on your product, what attachment does that person have with your product? Right? The biggest problem is you sell the product, you say it's because it's good. Well, no. There's plenty of trash out there. So you don't know why somebody wants something. Suppose, let's say it's a razor, right? Let's say it's a razor blade. Some people want a cheap razor because they just want to throw it away. They don't want to keep it. So sometimes you gotta tell the person how to use your product, especially now with the internet, let's say food stuff. How is this going to change your life?
That we don't shave, right?
Exactly. That's why I said the shaving. You guys look a little different today.
So the cost and the benefit, pretty much.
Right. Yeah, the cost and the benefit. But think about all the products that are out there, right? Sometimes people buy crappy things. Why? How are people able to sell crappy things? It depends on what it means. Hey, I'm buying something because somebody else has it, right? When it comes to marketing and everything else, it's not exactly rational, right? Sometimes you don't buy things. I know I'm going to get in trouble for this, but sometimes I'll tell them, do you really need another pair of shoes? I mean, come on, tell some ex-girlfriends. That's why they're ex-girlfriends, because they're like, what? Of course I do. I always need an extra pair of shoes, right?
You never know. It could be post-COVID, and they need that extra pair of shoes just in case that shoe has COVID on it. Just saying.
Right. See, I'm wrong. You always need that extra pair of shoes. So that relationship that you have with the product, how it helps you, stuff like that, is sometimes so. If you're marketing, what you want to show is you want to give people a demonstration of your product, how it can prove, and then there's something what we call social proof. You want to show how other people are using it. That's why when you go to Amazon and you're purchasing something and you see all the comments and you see the stars, 5 stars, 3 stars, 4 stars. And so if I'm selling my product, there goes a 5-star product. We're ranked X, Y, Z. And that's how you do it, right? So you can have a cheap product, but if you're highly rated, good reviews, social proof, that's how it works. You got restaurants, they got their A rating for like cleanliness and all this other stuff. You market all these things.
So let me ask a question on that. Maybe I'm just a horrible shopper, but I don't look at stars and I don't look at anything. I literally just click and go.
Well, I actually lately started looking at stars. I am looking for a new pair on Amazon because I haven't had sneakers in years. And I'm telling you, I'm really happy. These bad reviews are the worst reviews I've ever seen. Man.
Right.
Do you feel that people put reviews on there purposely to sabotage your product?
100%. But also there are some truths to like these reviews. Like on Amazon, people actually review. But like if it's like regular local businesses, I think that most of the time people do either they love you or they had such a bad experience that like when it comes to local business, people don't review as much. And that's my whole argument with Yelp, because I think between me and you, the majority of stuff on Yelp is more of a vendetta-based review. If it's not, unless they're an actual Yelp, actual people that get fair reviews. And look, some restaurants and some stores do deserve a 3-star because, like, look, like I walk in there and I'm like, holy crap, this does. But it's not worth me going on and writing a bad review. What exactly happened? If I'm going on Yelp, it means like I have like an ultimate vendetta. Like this guy's gotta go down. Like I mean, there are some restaurants here.
So let me just jump in real quick to help out with that. So one of the things is that if you want to control that situation, number one, when it comes to some of those reviews are not real, right? That's priming you're sort of priming the customers and stuff like that by giving them You know, that's the same way when you see guys, street performers. You know, if you want to put money, you got to put money in the basket first, right? You take some of your money so people can see, yay, give. And but the other thing too is for like the legitimate people, it really helps that people have to have an outlet for how they feel about their experience, right? How can I really relate with you? So if I had a bad experience, that's why if you have like an opinion box, like some companies can have, you go have your own survey, right? And how you follow up. That's why you'll see, hey, please hold for a survey. You know, people will ask. When you look at hotels, they take that very seriously. That's part of like when you're a franchisee, you have to, for let's say a particular hotel brand, you have to keep a certain level of performance, and that's why they do surveys routinely. That makes it important. So if you want to help your business out, you want to have something where you can respond to people, like you put, you put like a survey, and you be real about it. It says, so-and-so complains, can I use your name? Can I use your name? Let me explain this. And so there's an opinion box. In this day and age of making things public, you can say, so-and-so came in on this day, complained about this, and this is how we resolved it. Thank you for your opinion. You gotta let people have some sort of outlet.
Oh yeah, no, 100.
And they
like it's
throw
better
all over you.
versus it's better for you to have the ability to fix it through that outlet versus like
Right.
something on like Yelp where like if you tell them, hey, give me a review on Yelp, and then it's impossible. Like that review stays up there for years.
Oh yeah, I have a Yelp up there that I actually don't like talking to myself. I really don't, because the Yelp that's on there, I'm a misogynistic car salesman. It's actually really juicy. I really despise myself after I read myself on Yelp, and you can't even get it off there. Yeah, I don't even know who the person is.
Right.
The person doesn't even go to your gym.
I would love to meet him so I could take him out to dinner so I could see, hey, maybe I can.
Right, but that's why you have to police yourself first, right? That's why you got to take the initiative to say, okay, here's these opinions, and then people have to see that you addressed it publicly. Because what is to say that you give your opinion and it's not just taken and just thrown in the trash? People will take you more seriously when he says, okay, hey, my bad. This is what we did. This is how we take it, and you got to post it, right? Then if somebody's going to put their opinion on Yelp, you can be like, wait a second, I already do this. You know, we already do this internally, and it'll spread. And I think you get more loyalty that way. And let's put it this way: if there's something wrong with your company, let's say like when I'm mediating cases, for example, this is all in the same line. When you have a company, you want to train your employees on the laws. This is discrimination laws. This is a workplace violation. This is an OSHA law, so they really know and understand the laws. Because they're not going to go file against you for a stupid case. They're not going to file a frivolous case because they know the law. And so it really says, because, you know, for us, certain agencies that I know of, a lot of people don't really know the law. They're not sure, but they file because they feel a certain type of way. Now, just trying to fight these kind of cases costs money, right? You got to get a lawyer, you got to go through the process. However, but when the staff knows the laws and says, wait a second, I'm not going to go. So this is a frivolous case. This guy may be an asshole, but he's not violating the law. However, if the person is violating the law, and the person does know the law, then you need them to give you good feedback, let's say as an owner, because you're not sure if the manager is going to be following the law. You don't know if they got their own cut, doing their own thing, or maybe they just don't know. But you want that staff person to know the law and go back and say, guess what, they're doing this wrong, and you need that feedback.
At the end of the day, they're not going to be the ones that get in trouble. It's the business owners that get in trouble.
Exactly. So just know this, for business owners, when something goes wrong, for the most part, you don't sue the individual. You know, depending on where you are, if you're like in New York City or whatever case, you could, you know, file against the individual, but you don't really go anywhere with that. It's against the owner. So even if you're the nice person and everything else, your manager or whoever that you have who's the steward of that whatever program or organization that you have, could put you in deep water, right? So it's really important for training and everything.
I have a question. I want to hear, without saying names, you don't have to say company names. Like, 'cause we do a lot of stuff about social, like, you know, about like funny experiences that happens when it comes to, like, you know, like different different cultures, like cultural differences and stuff like that. Can you tell us like one funny story or a pretty wow story of a mediation thing that you had to do in the past couple of years? Something pretty.
Okay, so cultural
differences inside, like, you know, like between two things, like what went down and how is it fixed and stuff like that. How can it be fixed? You know.
Well, you know, okay, I'll tell you the problem. One of the interesting things about in the American system is sometimes you think about, hey, let's do a deal, let's just get to it. There's a problem, let's just get to it, let's start talking about it and working it out, right? And so I had a Japanese company, a Japanese noodle company, and the president US shows up, right? And the guy shows up with an entourage. I mean, in the waiting room, I says, okay, so-and-so party, and the whole entire conference room, the whole waiting room stood up. I'm like, geez. But one of the things that's important is before you start, you got to think about who you're dealing with at times. And so what we did was we actually had them bring tea. So we had tea and we talked about the company. We talked about the town where the company was founded first. There was a bit of a socialization. We didn't go out for drinks, but we did manage to talk about tea and have that whole situation before we even spoke about the problem and the issue, right? So that was like a cultural situation that was really interesting. That was a lot of fun. And
that's very good to do because it breaks the ice a little bit. And it's
right. Of the 8 hours that we went, it was a whole day. I would say the negotiation part was 2 hours.
Oh, wow. Which is good.
No. I got stuff that could go, 10 hours, stuff that we have to do multiple days negotiating. And there's other wild things that happened. Like, look, I got one for you, right? I have an unemployment case. And the person worked for a pharmaceutical company, the person has a PhD, whatever the case may be. And, they wanted us to settle this case. And so the person says to me, in a mediation, this is a caucus, so, separate rooms. One party's in one room, another party's in a different room, okay? And a person goes like this to me, Ralph, how would you like it when I was in the hospital, the company took my blood, cloned me, had my clone mate with my husband's twin brother that was abducted at birth? How would you like that if somebody did that to you?
Wait, what happened?
Repeat that again.
Okay, so I'm not showing you. I'm just showing you the diversity of cases and things that goes on in the world, right? And this is a good lesson.
I would actually hear about this lesson. A guy got cloned by.
No. So the woman goes like this to me. I'm in the room. She has an attorney sitting next to him. I have my associate mediator with me, and the person sits down and says, Ralph, how would you like it? They took my blood, they cloned me. They had my clone mate with my husband's twin brother that was abducted at birth. How'd you like if they did that to you?
Wait. But we're cloning people now?
Well, listen, this is a case that has to be settled, okay? Imagine what would you do in this situation?
I definitely want to see some pictures. I'm just saying, I want to see some pictures. I want to see.
I want to sleep with myself,
Okay. And so, if you're a company, you want to try to get this settled because you don't want to know that you don't want the public to know that this person.
Absolutely not.
No, I would never want the company to public to know that I cloned someone.
Right. So, so in a case like that, right. So the thing is, in a case like that, I sat down next to the person. I said, of course, because people are with, they may see crazy things, but they want to see if you are with them. Right?
Yeah.
And I just told her, I said, you know what? I think we have a problem here. I think we're dealing, companies are trying to make money. And this technology seems a little beyond. I think you got the wrong respondent. I don't think it's the company. I think we're dealing with aliens here. And I told her to go to abovetopsecret.com and go to abduction section. And then she said, okay. And then we was able to settle the case for X amount of dollars. We was able to settle it. And so
they actually did
yeah, we settled. She actually,
she lying about everything. She could have.
No. She wasn't lying. No. Here's the problem that people make when we think about all the situation about Black Lives Matter, all this stuff, the police, this other stuff. And I just want to give you an example about with this case. To her, she wasn't lying. If a person doesn't know they're lying, then are they lying? Right? They could be misguided. They could be uninformed. They could have a problem. But I was able to resolve it regardless of the underlying issues. So you could find resolution. It turns out that the person had a medical condition, right? The person had a medical condition. So it wasn't necessarily something that she was trying to do something with malicious intent. So, I think a lot of people get caught up in the whole process and they don't think about the solution. Right? Don't focus too much on the problem. Focus on the resolve. And that's what goes on a lot in the world is I'll tell people, listen, we could talk about this all day, but we could also try to get this thing done. And that's what we did.
You did bring up a little bit about the Black Lives Matter issue. And I have a lot of things to say about that also. What do you say about it? How do you go about it? Because there is a big divide with the actual idea of Black Lives Matter, which is amazing. And then there's the idea where there's one political party hijacking it and pulling it to their own benefit.
Okay, so look, no. So here's the problem. It's about language. If I start speaking a different language, I could probably start talking a different language, and you probably won't understand it, right? If I start talking Haitian Creole, you're not going to understand what I'm saying to you, right? Maybe pick up or guess some words. The thing is, it's all about definition, right? What does it mean to you means something different to other people. So other people are arguing over terms, and nobody has sat down to say, okay, this is the correct definition of the word, or this is the statement. And this is why there's so much argument. So when somebody says Black Lives Matter,
like me,
other people
definition is look, Black Lives Matter. There's issues between when it comes to people think they're in a higher power. For instance, when it comes to cops, bad cops in different states and stuff like that. And I think a lot of cops do need more training and stuff like that. So we'll go from there. But when it comes to a whole political group pulling it away and saying, hey, we can use this to further our agenda instead of using this to help certain communities, that's what falls apart for me.
Well, okay. So here's what it is. So the definition of it is really limited, and so most people don't know. Different groups, different racial groups, and depending on where you are in the country, some people don't exactly know what it means. So the Black Lives Matter really is specific. It's a real limit. It's a general term that has a very specific and narrow meaning, where it's addressing one particular cause. Is that, let's say, the relationship between police and the African American culture, like people of color. What is that relationship? So it doesn't necessarily address other social issues. Now, the problem is, what you're talking about is, let's say, a group like Antifa joining up with Black Lives Matter. Now, this intersectionality, now it's, wait a second.
No, I'm not even talking about that. I'm not that's a big obvious answer. But I'm talking about where Black Lives Matter goes ahead, and I'm a very big supporter of Israel, and then they turn around and go well, we know that we have this issue here, but Israel is a big problem. And we see you, Israel, and Israel, you're a whole bunch of murderers and stuff like that. Well, I think that Israel's past is the same exact idea here. And they're going on all these different campaigns and going off and throwing and saying like the other day in Brooklyn where they're going off and going on this whole rant like Israel should die and like and all that kind of stuff.
Well, I think that's where the mistake happens, right? That's the whole intersectionality things like that.
Because then you have guys like me that are like, oh my gosh, how am I supposed to back this? If this is like, if this is no longer about Black Lives Matter, this is about like, all right, let's use this to knock out other opponents for other players.
Well, I think that's the problem is how you got to keep focused to terms. Now, if people want to jump, I think if people want to advocate for a particular cause, then advocate under the particular cause under that particular banner. One of the things that people want to do is says, hey, I want to show solidarity. But the problem is, are you well versed in the other topics? Some people think that they're well versed, and as a mediator, I can tell you, most people are not very, very versed on even the topics that they're most passionate about. That is the problem. You want to root for the underdog, and you say, hey, this person got a problem, and you want to try to help, and you want to be helpful. But the problem is that, are you really being helpful? And
well, no, I think
so these things have to be negotiated.
So I think they should keep to what's going on. If they go on and keep to what's going on, and they go about all these different African American issues that we have going on, where no one's talking about it. It kind of just this whole thing kind of turned into like a political shot, like a political shout out for who goes where, who goes what. For instance, like right now, we have so much going on. There's more shootings than ever now, and I hate to be the one that brings it up, but like, and no one's talking about it. You have the press secretary talking about it.
Well, okay, so I think there's an issue. Part of the problem is the issue of bandwidth. What you're going to find out that people can only deal with a certain limited number of issues at any one particular time, right? Your memory is even limited depending on the level of stress that you have on a certain number of items at a certain time, right? If a lion's chasing you, I doubt you could remember a phone number, but if you're calm and relaxed, it's easy, right? So depending on what people are seeing and how they're affected, how it's encoding in their minds and everything, it just depends the intensity of the issue. But the problem is, what I've noticed from society is that people have trouble concentrating and focusing on topics. They look at some of the cursory general terms and they don't do deep dives into that particular issue. Some people do, some people don't, right? And of course, there's different kind of biases for whatever reason. Hey, my friends are into it. The girl I like is into it. Hey, so I'm with it. Do I really know what's going on? Somebody told me this is a good thing to support, so I'm supporting it, right? And so that's what happened. People just go with the flow. If you were to be man with
got in trouble was because the girl said it. It's like, oh yeah, she wanted to do it, and she like passed me it, and I was like, all right, I'll do it.
So and some people may not like what I have to say, but if you do a man on the street, woman on the street, you take a mic, take yourself, and you go to any kind of rally, pro, against, conservative, liberal, doesn't matter what it is.
I don't think anybody's against
it. Go out there, right? Just go out there, take a mic, and interview, and whatever cause they're pushing, and ask them maybe 3 questions to see if they really understand what they're advocating for, right? And I do that often. I always ask people questions. Hey, who are you voting for? Oh, what is this about? Oh, what do you think we should do? And you'll find it really interesting what that person's doing at that particular rally or whatever they're doing. Their personal particular views may be quite different from what you expect. Just because you see them at the rally doesn't necessarily mean they believe the stuff at the rally.
So let me jump in on that. Honestly, sure. Do you think that people use their own mind in their decisions, or do you think the media has a really big play in what everyone is saying and or doing, or just mimicking what they hear as opposed to actually understanding what the problem is?
No. Media plays a big role. Yeah. Like, how else would you know, right? How else would you know? What is your media source? for myself, okay, I know politicians, I know this source, I know that source, so I could take an extra step. But the average person doesn't know certain people to get that additional information. So where are you going to get it from, right? And they don't realize that certain people in the media has their biases too. They have their pick. They're not going to advocate your particular cause. Sometimes you got to read like congressional records. Who's going to sit around and read that stuff, right? And when you think about the time and everything else, to get the sources takes extra work that you may not have. Hey, if you got to take care of a family, rents are expensive and everything else, just trying to live, you need to get the information in short pockets, brief. And who's going to give it to you? Who's that trusted source, right? So the media does play into it. A lot of people don't like the president. So the president has a certain relationship with the media. There's certain things that the president does. You're not going to know it unless you go online and take a look. They're just not going to advertise it.
Well, I think right now, the media, everyone knows the media. The thing about the media is the media was created. When the media was created, it was really pretty much the stories in one person's point of view. And you go out and you tell stories, you go from there. I mean, the media has evolved from there where people want to start telling the news and telling what's going on. But I think people know that, like, nowadays, I guess, out of all the ratings that are coming out, that the media is literally, when it comes to CNN and MSNBC, Fox News, that all these people can say the same story, but they're all saying it in their own personal agenda view. And I think everyone's starting to learn that now more and more as time goes on. Right.
Well, you know what? It's just like a selection. When you think about this, is that, hey, this is my choice. This is selection bias. So as soon as I select this group, let me change that. This, for example, you see when people are with their kids, you see the kids jumping up and down, or the kid does something, they tend to be a little bit more lenient on their own kids, right? Hey, this is my own choice. This is my selection. So this is my team. I want to give this person a bigger pass because it's my team. And that's what we have. That's the problem that we're facing. People are just taking their teams, and regardless of what your teammate does, you're going to support them.
Because my teammate didn't invite me to his office today. He's like, hey, let's do it on Skype far away from here. But now I see him popping open another bottle of wine. He's like, yeah, let's all be separate today.
Yeah, so he doesn't have to share. That's what it is.
No, that's what I'm learning from the situation. I think he keeps forgetting that I'm literally right across the street from him.
What are you guys talking about? Listen, guys.
You just talked about sharing is caring literally 5 more minutes earlier than
that. Listen, I tell you, I got such a distorted view on just about everything. Honestly, I don't even know who to believe. Like, let's go into something different, something that's really pervasive right now. COVID-19. Is it really this big monstrosity that everybody's making it out to be? Or is this just a big political game?
Well,
just a personal, it doesn't have to be a big dissertation, just a quick, like, your own personal thought on it.
No, like my own personal thought, I think they're going a little overboard with COVID-19. Like, they're going very overboard on COVID-19. I think there is a big problem. People are getting sick. I think that other states are not in their second wave yet. I think everybody keeps saying second wave, all that second wave junk. It's like, no, we were in New York. New Yorkers never listen to rules. So we got hit, smacked across the face, overall everywhere. When it comes to certain things, we kind of went through our first phase, and then other states are going through their first phase now. We just decided to give it to them. Should New York shut down now? No, I think New York should go back into a passive way where it's like, hey, look, if you feel you're not up to par to going out, the government will help you stay safe.
Well,
I'm curious, Ralph. What do you say, Ralph?
So I think I think this was one of the greatest disasters that I've ever seen from an administrative point of view. If you just go back early on, you see that first and foremost, the CDC had said, "Oh, masks don't work." If you go back and take a look and see the information, one, the World Health Organization said, "What pandemic? There's no pandemic." Okay, they said that. Okay, there's one. Two, then you had the CDC saying, "Oh, well, masks don't work." Well, if that was the case, then how do all these doctors in the hospitals manage to stay safe if you're saying masks won't work? So if you go back and take a look and see the disaster of the comments that they said. Now, if people had used their mask early on, it wouldn't have been necessary, in my opinion, to shut everything down as much as they did, right? The other thing that I find that's kind of interesting is, like, let's say now, let's fast forward now. Was it necessary to shut down at a certain point? Yes. But when you look at the testing that's going on, you should be checking for the antibody testing. The testing people do are just, they're reporting COVID, whether you have COVID or not. But the antibody testing allows you to know, hey, I had it already. You have to get tested more than once because sometimes that test is not accurate. But yeah, it has some issues. But if I had it already, and remember, like maybe 90% of the people, you got to remember this, about 97% of the people don't know they have it.
Yeah, actually, no, but I have some friends that had it, but now they went to the antibodies test and it came out they don't have any antibodies at all.
Right. So there's certain people have it, some people don't. That's the thing about it. But to make people comfortable, even if you have the antibodies and anything else, I think sometimes when you go to certain stores and things like that, you should just have it because it encourages other people to have it. Right.
But I've been working on an app to try to go through it. I've been pivoting with that app like a million times back and forth. I'll talk about it next time about what I'm doing with the app because I think both of you guys would love the app, which way I pivoted from each way about it. Like, helping businesses, I do want to test it out in his gym, maybe one of these days, how the apps work and kind of like helps people know who, what, where, when, why, and how.
If I don't fold. If I don't fold. Because honestly, let me tell you, it's crazy because, you talk about testing. My wife had it. She did an antibody test, negative. She took 2 tests, positive. I took the test. I take the test twice a week.
Jeez.
Twice a week. Negative. I run an adult care facility. No one's got it. Only 2 people came up positive with antibodies. I don't know what to believe. I really don't know what to believe. My daughters don't have it. I don't got it. It's like this elusive thing. Like, honestly, if I found someone who had it, whether it was male or female, I want to make out with them. I'm just saying, I'm throwing it out there. I'm just throwing it out. I just want to make out real quick. I want to see if I get it.
I gotta tell you something. I gotta tell you something that could be very helpful. For the virus, what really causes the problem is your body's reaction to the virus, not right, and it is the immune response. So one of the things that I looked up, and I was kind of surprised, if you could go in and look at the studies, vitamin D3, right, helps against coronavirus.
You have a whole regimen that you do to help.
Right, because my father, look, my dad had it, my mom had it. My father's like, is in has certain health conditions where, and of the age where it was a disaster, but he was asymptomatic, right? What did I give him? Vitamin D3, MSM, Mary Sam Mary, that was like dietary sulfur, and turmeric. We gave him those 3 things, and it was helpful.
Turmeric is great in general.
Because it helps with inflammation.
Lately. I know like all this stuff is coming out these days, but still, it's like literally, like even hydroxychloroquine actually did, they actually backtracked on that. Even CNN backtracked.
Right. So that's my point that I'm trying to tell you is that when it comes to communication, whether it be COVID, whether it be anything else, that's the big issues that we have in society, whether it be the police and everything else, whereas defund, don't defund. we need to have conversations first. People don't sit down. People just react before we sit down and have conversations. And that is, if there's anything I could say, right now, is that how do we have those conversations? And that's what I do, is I facilitate those conversations.
Help people have these conversations.
Exactly.
Well, I'm too busy. I'm too busy trying to get to the latest movie. I don't really want to talk about serious stuff. I don't want to read the. I don't want to read the Constitution. What I got to read the Constitution for?
Well, the cool thing is that there's other people who do, and that's what. And let me tell you something. And what you're saying is exactly true. And that's what makes a society. A society is the division of labor, right? Somebody's going to be the carpenter, right? Somebody's going to be the lawyer, right? Somebody's going to be cooking your food at the shop. Somebody's going to be working at the grocery stores. There's a division of labor. You don't want to have to do everything. And that's what makes us successful, is when we could have. And so there's a lot of things that could go wrong. Different languages, different time. Hey, I didn't hear you. And so these are some of the things that should have happened. But when you look at it at the end of the day, you realize these things didn't happen. People didn't have a conversation. People didn't sit down. And you'll be surprised to find out how much it doesn't happen, right? When they said, hey, let's defund the police, nobody sat down with, with the police unions to say, hey, this is what's going to be happening. This is the repercussions.
Oh, because politicians kind of turned it back on them. They have, some of our politicians as of late, they have a tendency of walking away, which is trying to, look, we voted.
Well, they're not all the same. I can say they're not all the same, but those are the kind of issues that comes across is, hey, in the same way, and let me tell you something, the same way you guys are having this podcast, having a conversation, communicating. This is what makes podcasts so important, is that, hey, I just want to communicate. I just want to share information. And there's other people who's going to be listening to the show and say, wait a second, I feel the same way. Right?
Yeah, no, that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping we get out there and hopefully get comments up. And I'm kind of ending singing this now, because I think we all have other stuff to do today. And I think we should, maybe 2 weeks have you come back on, or 3 weeks have you come back on again, because look, we have so much to talk about. I mean, there is a lot to talk about. I mean,
listen, I got to say,
people to talk about.
It's amazing. Listen, it's a pleasure to meet you, Ralph. I mean,
fantastic.
Listen, I never thought, honestly, meeting Sam across the street, that I'd ever run into a person like you. See the cultural differences, because we look at a person and don't really stop and pay attention to that. There's different cultures behind everyone.
Exactly.
And I'm happy to have met you, Ralph, and I look forward to talking to you again.
Maybe one day you could bring James Sanders on, because I was telling him other stuff, so we'll talk off the mic of what we should do,
sure.
And stuff like that. Because
we'll try to grab all kind of folks on. For whatever minutes we can, we'll just grab some folks to
because he does have this problem where they keep changing their mind of opening the gym. I'm lucky, I'm in the cannabis world, so I kind of get to stay up in it, open most of the time. And also I'm in
they're doing that in Jersey. They're doing it in Jersey, but they're not doing it in New York.
Yeah, which I think, we have more people than everyone. We should.
Sure.
And also we on the outskirts, we're out in Cedarhurst, we don't have the amount of people that Manhattan has. I get it. Manhattan has tons of people, so it's hard to do. But in a gym which has about 1,000 people going to it, you really can spread out the time between how much people go through, which I think would be an awesome discussion to get some politicians on board to say, hey, look, we would like to start moving forward, because I'm pretty sure that he has all these cool things to help him clean up the gym, to make sure the gym is ready to go. And also, thank God we live in a town like Rockaway and Cedarhurst and Lawrence and our outer communities. We have an honor system where people do know. Well, we did have one of the most cases in the United States in our.
Exactly.
We already got it. That means, so we should just open up anyway. All right, I'm gonna keep all go. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us, Ralph.
Hey, it's fun, and we'll do it again. I got a few folks waiting for me here, but hey, we're gonna do this again really soon.
Give a little shout out about the jazz band. Give us what day you're doing it.
Hey, so we'll see. It's supposed to be tentatively the 24th, July 24th. We're going to be talking about, it's not just, it's going to have like live music, but also it's going to try to stream it live, and it's going to happen at Masawa Restaurant, 121st Street in Broadway.
Oh, yes. I've been dying to go there.
Yeah, and what we're going to do is have a discussion about what happens when we really open up after, as far as businesses is concerned. And so one of the things is like I have someone has a platform supporting women businesses. I have somebody else who has a platform on helping U.S. Africa business trade, and I have another person who has another platform about helping entrepreneurs.
So I'm going to try my best to come. Also, give me the link so I can share it with everybody here.
I'll do so as soon as I just got, we're supposed to open up the restaurants for 50%. It didn't happen yet. So that's what I'm waiting for to see when they do the 50%, which was supposed to happen. So I might have to postpone a little bit. So I'll share with you guys, and we'll talk soon.
All right.
Absolutely.
Wait. All right.
All right, gentlemen. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Pleasure.
Bye.
All right.